Hello? How are you? I'm watching Halloween 4. I love this movie so much. Anyway, I just filmed my videos and I uploaded them. And I will tell you, I haven't uploaded them. Look, I have to do it from my phone again today because our internet here is bad at our house. It's like, I don't know what's going on. There's been storms all day long. Come on, PB. Look who's back. PB. Did you not want to give me a kiss? He said, I'm so happy to be home. I'm so happy to be home. Where's my daddy? You want to see your daddy? Look at his little tongue sticking out. PB, look at your little tongue sticking out, honey, because you don't need more teeth in there anymore. I know. He says, stop making fun of me, Dad. But anyway, can we just talk about that little tongue so much right there? Oh, PB, look at that little tongue. Okay, so I got up today and I had to run some errands. I had some stuff I had to do. And then I went and picked up PP's medicine at Costco. And then I just noticed that his paw is getting very, very gray right here. Oh, look at that tongue. Hi, tongue. Did you want to kiss the people? He says, kiss the people. Aw. I'm trying to get a thumbnail. PP. With my, look at all my fat hitting up there. I'm trying to get a thumbnail. Anyway, okay, sit down, honey, you're good. Sit down. So, and then I went and got PP's medicine at Costco. It was pouring down rain. And I'm so pissed because I wanted to sit on the back patio and read tonight for Booktubeathon. That won't be happening. And then I went to the post office, and I haven't been there in like a week. All I had was a bill. And then I went and got the dogs from the kennel, which I call the hotel. Tanya wasn't there, so I picked them up. They had just had their baths and their nail trims, and so they were all ready to come home. And then I came home, and then they've been taking naps and stuff. Who is calling me? Excuse me, BB. Somebody's calling me. It's on my... Who is it? Well, it's Alex. I'll be right back. All right, so he's going out to dinner, and I'm going to go through some of my packages that I received in the last couple weeks and cards. Drinking my coffee. What? No, PB, it's not dinner time. Oh, I have to go get them food, too. Just picked up PP's medicine. I have to give that to him in a little bit, get some cheese. I guess I have to go to the grocery store. So, sweetheart, you wait. Okay. There is no note in this. Oh, yeah, there is. Hold on, at the very end. But it doesn't say who it's from. So, I don't... Oh, wait. Hi, Peter. Enjoy your gift from Cheryl. You probably already have this, but I couldn't resist. Love it. I do not already have this. I've never seen this. I didn't even look inside. I wanted to save it until I opened it on camera. So, 30 ounce, 800 milliliter stainless steel vacuum insulated tumbler set. Beast! Beast! So, let's open this. I haven't opened it. I'm so excited. Okay. There's a cleaning thing in there and everything. Oh my god, it's so nice, and it has the tap thing on the top that I've wanted. Oh my god. So it says Beast, which I guess is the brand on the very bottom down here. And then you open it, and it has this in here. Dear valued customer. Oh, thank you for your 10% off. And then it has this straw that you can also drink out of. How do you do the straw? I bet you put it right through that thing, don't you? Why am I being such an idiot and I can't figure this out? How do I open this? Oh, I see. Okay. So I'm going to figure that out when I get off here because I want to make sure that I get it right. That is awesome. And I can use this in my car with my water. And I can drink, get all my water, drink it, and there's two little sponges in there, clean it all out. So yeah, so that's awesome. Okay, so put that to the side. Thank you, Cheryl. Oh my God, you're so awesome. I love you. I just show you guys these socks that came with my Page Habit box. Aren't they cute? They say books on them. So, okay, then I have cards, but I think I'm gonna go through that tomorrow. Somebody from Japan asked me if I had gotten their box. I did. Okay, so, oh shoot. I know there's a card that goes with this. Where is it? Hold on just a second. Darn it. Where did I put... Well, I may have to show those later. So, the next thing I got, this is very cool, okay? And it's from Kim to the Stevie Nicks of YouTube. I wanted to send this little gift as a token of gratitude for all you do on YouTube. Whether it is a good laugh or a good word, your voice and presence is a blessing. I always look forward to your videos and hearing your insight. I lost my grandpa a few months ago, and your videos about your personal experiences with loss have really helped me during some heavy-hearted moments. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that. Thank you for sharing your life, humor, and experience. Best regards, Kim. And she included this picture. Oh, is it more than one picture? These pictures. Oh my God! Of Stevie Nicks. Love it. And she put a little in this little plastic container. But what's best is this fantastic fan. That's very much like a Stevie Nicks fan. So hold on, I'm gonna open it. I will tell you with these feather fans though, they literally go everywhere, the feathers. This is peacock feathers. Oh my God, this might be a special occasion fan. The feathers are already going everywhere. Ah! Look at that. Oh my God, look at the other side. Miss Scarlet, Miss Scarlet. I feel like, what's her name? The one that was a rant. She was in Gone with the Wind. Thank you so much, Kim. That was awesome. There's feathers everywhere. Okay, that was awesome. And where is the card about the candles? I'm really pissed, you guys. I might have to hold this. So I got a card from Connie. Thank you, Connie. It was really sweet. Thanking me for the inspiration. And then, maybe I put two cards in one thing. And then, I got a card from, from Lucian with a very nice long handwritten letter, so thank you. And some little spiritual like bookmark with a little rainbow flag on it. And all this kind of stuff. Very nice. And okay, so then this is the one that is super special. And I want to make sure they wrote a poem and everything. And it's very, very long. And the letter is written, I mean, the writing is so beautiful, and they're from Japan. And their name is, I'm gonna pronounce it wrong, Kaori. So anyway, she said, if you like to, please feel free to mention any portion of this in your videos. It would surely be an honor to me. And it was so sweet that she did this. And then look at this bookmark. It's so awesome, isn't it? But anyway, the letter was very, very personal, so I'm just going to keep it between us. And then she also wrote, I'm thinking Kaori is, okay, so anyway. And then this poem on here, which is called Rose Garden. Did you guys, I don't think it's the poem, it's the song. I never promised you a rose garden. But anyway, and then she put on the front of here, this is from Osaka, Monsieur Peter Monn. I love that so much. So thank you so much for all of this stuff. And then I got these candles, okay? Homemade candles. And I read the card because they were like, I just wanted to send you some of my homemade candles. But I don't want to show the candles until I can find the damn card. So the card must be in my car. Where did I put the card? Oh, here it is, here it is, here it is. I wasn't looking at it. Okay, so it's a little card. I love your videos. Hi, Peter, and I hope you're well. Hope you enjoy the candles I made. Love you, Abby. Or you can call me Judy. And so she sent me these homemade candles, okay? So let me show them to you. They smell so good. They were in my car for like 2 days, and they smelled really, really good. The battery's about to die on my camera. Breakfast of Champions. Oh, like the book, but it's like breakfast. You see, there's a little bowl of cereal. Oh my God, it smells exactly like, what is that cereal? Not Cheerios, but kind of like Cheerios. Oh, what is that cereal? It smells, oh my God, that is fantastic. I'm gonna put that in here and burn that in the kitchen. Oh my God, I'm excited to see, that is so good. What is that cereal? It smells exactly like it. The battery's gonna die. I'm afraid I'm gonna run out of this. Unicorn farts. Her thing is called the Pour House. Like pour. Oh, this is very sweet. This actually reminds me of, look at the cover, it's cool. It actually reminds me of like a scratch-off sticker back in the day. Oh, that's nice too, I like that. Okay, and then, that'll go in my office though. My husband won't like that, but I do like the sweet scents like that. It's almost kind of like candy, like sweet tarts. Okay, and then that cereal one is fantastic. The last candle is called Blue Raspberry Slushy. Oh my God, and that's exactly what it smells like. I love when stuff is supposed to smell like something, and it totally smells like that. That is so good. Okay, so let me smell the cereal one again. Oh my God. Ah! What cereal is that? It reminds me so much of when you open a box of cereal. It smells just like that. Okay. So thank you so much. I love it, Abby. And thank you so much, everybody. Cheryl, Kim, Kaori. And I am going to get off here now. I wanted to show you guys that stuff because it's been sitting over there for a while. And I love you, and I will be back in a little while. I'm going to charge my battery. Bye. Oh, can't touch this. I'm back. Did you miss me? For the 1 second that I was gone for you. It has been, well, it's like 2:00 something. 2:00. It's 4 after 2. And I just got up a little bit ago. I crashed out. My air conditioning is not working in my car. And I was reading and trying to figure out what I think it is. I think there's a leak. Because I filled the coolant a little bit today, and then it like was low again already, and I was like, what did I do wrong? So I don't know. I'm gonna try this coolant that has this sealant in it, and if that doesn't work, then I'm gonna just take it somewhere. I may just take it somewhere anyway and have them look at it. I just don't want to get paid. I just don't want to get charged $200 for them to put some sealant in it. You know what I mean? Like, I always feel like I get kind of screwed over. But anyway, Alex went to dinner with his friends tonight. They went to Cheesecake Factory. He went to dinner with the people that he works with. And I was gonna meet up with him. But I was having a hard time getting my videos posted, and I was just kind of like wanting to just be at home anyway. Like, we've been gone, you know, for the last couple days. I was supposed to go have brunch with these women that I'm friends with tomorrow at 11. I was like, can we do it like another day? Because I'm like kind of cashed out right now. They were like, yeah, no problem. Well, actually, one of them texted me and said, yeah, no problem, but I'm still gonna, and she liked it, like the knife emoji. She said, I still want to knife you. But we're gonna do it next Monday or Tuesday instead. So after I talked to you guys, what did I do? I went to the grocery store. I got food for the dogs. I made my dinner, but I wasn't really hungry. And then Talked to some people on the phone. Talked to Tanya for a long time on the phone. And I watched Real Housewives of New York while I was eating dinner. And my life is so exciting, isn't it? I read for a while for Booktubeathon. And then Alex got home and we were laying in bed talking, and he got home about 10, I think. And, excuse me, we were just talking about stuff, and he was like on his phone, like looking at Instagram and like watching little stupid videos on, he always watches all these like videos on Instagram. And I said, I'm gonna lay down, and I set my alarm for like 11:30. And I woke up, I was having like the weirdest dreams. And I woke up at like 12 o'clock, and I went downstairs, and I had made some pasta earlier, and I didn't really eat it when I made it. Like, I had like a couple bites, and then I put it away. I just wasn't hungry then. I don't know why. So I made myself a little plate. It was just basically like angel hair pasta with like marinara sauce. And I made myself a little plate and sat down and watched Look at Her with Kennedy Davenport. So Look at Her is like, there's this channel, and well, it's not really a channel. Yeah, it is a channel. It's Hey Queen with Johnny McGovern, and I love it. And he has like all of the RuPaul's Drag Race, you know, girls on there, and he does like a 2 or 3 part interview with them, and then he does this after show that's called Look at Her, and HUH. He's where I like originally got the fan idea, because he doesn't do it the way that I do it, but he like, I just wanted a fan like his, because he uses these very cool fans. But anyway, there's like 3 people that I have to like catch up on. Varla Jean, she's not on RuPaul's Drag Race, but Varla Jean is like this drag comedian. And then Kennedy Davenport, and I can't remember who the other person is that I haven't watched yet. But anyway, it was the one that was on the last episode, the last season. She's from LA. Why can't I think of her name? But anyway, so very pretty. I can't think of her name. So I watched the Kennedy Davenport one. I don't usually watch the interviews. I used to. He used to have a lot of YouTubers on there. He had Shane Dawson on there when Shane Dawson like broke his leg. And he had Christine Seidelko and Elijah Daniel on there. And he's had some other people. But usually it's mostly RuPaul's Drag Race girls. And so yeah, I watched that and I ate. And then I had taken the dogs out before that. And then I left to come and vlog, and I was listening to my audiobook a little bit for Booktubeathon. And before I left, it was so funny. Whenever we take the dogs to the kennel, and like Boo and Tucker don't go a lot, you know, so like whenever we take them, they're always so exhausted when they get home, like absolutely exhausted, you know, or like the next day or two. And so they were so cute today. When I like picked them up, they had baths today too, because it had like been raining here and stuff, and so I was like, just give them baths and I'll pay for it. People always ask me, they're like, oh, it must be so I mean, I pay Tanya, she cuts me a great deal, but like when she watches the dogs or PP, like I pay her for it. Like I wouldn't not pay my friend, you know. I mean, she cuts me an incredible deal, I will say that. Like I think I pay like an 1/8 or something like that of what my bill would really be. I don't know, honestly, how people like, when we went to when we went to Miami and we were gone for like 10 days, just for PP alone, because Boo and Tucker were at the house. Like, I said, how much would this bill be if it, you know, and she was like, well, for one dog it would be this, but like, let's just say for if you didn't have somebody else watching them, you know, it'd be three dogs. And it was so expensive. I was like, it was like $1,200. I was like, Tanya, how do people afford that? She's like, well, they do. She's like, well, they have to. They don't have anybody to watch their dogs, you know? So anyway, But I brought them home, and then they were so excited at first. Oh, but when they brought Pee Pee, Boo, and Tucker out, like, Boo and Tucker, like, whenever they've been gone from me, like, they immediately, like, come running up to me, and they're very, very loving. But, like, sometimes Pee Pee can be a little snooty, like, he's kind of angry, like, that you left him. But today, like, when she brought him out, this is, like, this girl that works for Tanya, Megan. Hey, Megan. Because I think she watches some of my videos. I don't know if she watches this one. But anyway, when she brought him out, Pee Pee, like, looked at me and he was like he had this look on his face like, Dad? Like, he was surprised to see me. It was so sweet. But they are, like, cashed out tonight. They are so tired. And, I went upstairs to go change, and, like, Tucker, if you walk in the house, Tucker just starts barking immediately. Like, he's so loud. And if you move, like, anywhere, he's like up like this. I walked upstairs, changed my clothes. Tucker is, like, half on his back. He's so funny because he's kind of pudgy, and you know, like, he's so furry, and he's, like, half on his back, half on his side, and he's just, like, open to the world, you know. And he's, like, dead asleep, and Pee Pee's laying right next to him, and it's so sweet. And because, you know, I was going to put Boo and Tucker in their house tonight because I thought, well, let Pee Pee get some sleep by himself and, you know, get acclimated back to being home and whatever. But they seemed so happy. I was like, I'm not going to bother them. So now when I walk back in the house, Tucker will come running down the stairs and go, oh. Then Alex will be pissed because I woke him up. I'm like, yeah, that's what having dogs is all about. It's so funny because, like, if I take a nap, like, in the early evening, like, before Alex gets home, like, if he says I'll be home in, like, an hour, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm just gonna lay down with the dogs, I leave the door to the bedroom, like, kind of cracked so the dogs can, like, open it by themselves and run downstairs, because as soon as they hear Alex, they take off downstairs and start running. And it's always like, it takes me so long to fall asleep that right as I've fallen asleep, like, I feel like I hear the garage door go up. I mean, as soon as they hear that garage door go up, they go crazy, right? And so they go downstairs, and I'm like, God, Alex, like, just, why now? Did you have to come home? I was just about to fall. Has that ever happened to you? You're just about to fall asleep, and then, like, the phone rings or something, you know? It was a good day today, though. It was nice. It was like, you know, I love to travel, but, like, always, like, the first day back is kind of stressful, and you've got so much to do and whatever, and I definitely had a lot of stuff to do today, but, like, I kind of, like, switched some things around, so it didn't end up being that hard for me, which was nice. I kind of thought I'd meet up with Tanya tonight, but by the time that I got everything done and ate and had the dogs fed and everything, it was like 10 o'clock. And then we have a wedding reception we have to go to on Saturday that Alex totally forgot about. Till today, he was like, oh my God, I totally forgot. I was like, all right, just let me know what time it is. And then 3 weeks from today, we leave for Las Vegas for our anniversary trip, and I am so excited. I cannot wait. Because number one, I love Las Vegas. Number two, we are staying at the Cosmopolitan, which is where we got married, and I can't wait. And number three, because it's our anniversary, and we'll have been together 10 years, you guys. 10 years. And it seems crazy. And married 7. It's surreal to me, you know, like, I think back a lot, like, when Alex and I first started dating. So, if you haven't heard this story before, I'll tell it on here, because, like, I get asked a lot, like, on Q&As, how did you and Alex meet? So, my ex and I had broken up at the beginning of, it was December 7th, actually, of 2007. And, I like for a month, I didn't really do anything at all. I didn't go out. I wasn't social at all. I just kind of stayed at home. I was so kind of just blindsided by the ending of the relationship. I didn't really know who I was without him. You know, I mean, if you've gone through a major breakup, you know what that's like. And then my friend Liz was like, was one of my very, very dearest friends in the whole world, Liz. She doesn't live here anymore. That's whose dog is being put to sleep this weekend because she's so sick. I think she's like 18. She sent me a picture of her. It just breaks my heart. This dog is so sick. Anyway, she said, you need to get out. You need to start like doing some stuff. And okay, so Liz is Alex's age. So at the time she would have been like 24. And so I started going out with Liz and hanging out with Liz. And Liz is a lesbian, so I was going to all lesbian bars. And I was hanging out with a lot of lesbians. And it was like, I was like the gay guy with all the lesbians. And it was fun, and I liked it, and I felt safe. And you know, they always had somebody they wanted to hook me up with, but it never seemed to happen. And so like, for like a couple months, you know, it was easy. I didn't have to really think about dating or anything. And I kind of went into this thing where I was really focused on losing a lot of weight. I lost like 50 pounds, between, well, like in over like a 2-month period, like from December to February, I lost like 50, 60 pounds. And in not a healthy way either. I was eating 2 lean cuisine meals a day. And then for lunch, I would have like a can of tuna and whatever. And you know, I had a lot of endings at that time too. That was also when I was like, I had put in my resignation on the 23rd of December. And right before we were going to Gatlinburg, my mom and I. So I knew that when I came back, because we were going to discuss it when I came back, like what like my leaving would look like. So I knew that I was only going to probably be there. Well, honestly, I mean, I think at that time I thought they would hire somebody, you know, really quick, and then I would train that person, because that's how it had always been done before. And then I would leave. But that wasn't what happened at all, and they didn't even hire anybody till after I left. But anyway, so I had a lot of like stuff going on, you know, and I was just very like, I was going through like some major changes in my life. You know, I just didn't really know like what was going on. And then when my mom got sick on top of it, I kind of just got really numb. Like I was like, this is surreal. Like, okay, so I got out of this relationship, everything that I know and have like ground underneath me, like I feel like grounded, you know, is gone. And there was a point like really early on with my mom being sick. I don't know where it came from. I just knew she wasn't gonna make it. Like I just like, it was like 2 weeks in. It was just all so weird, and she had never been sick in my whole life. Like my mother just was never sick. She prided herself on not being sick. And I just knew, like I had this gut feeling. I was like, this is not good. I've actually, I think, talked about this on here before. Like, it was like after her second doctor's appointment or something, she went to the hospital and they released her for being dehydrated. And I think it was then, maybe, I don't remember, that I went home and I kind of felt like my grandma was like talking to me. And I just really like cried it out. I don't remember when that was, but there was a period early on when I just like knew, like, this isn't gonna be good. And so I kind of started just like numbing myself, but I would say like in healthy ways. Like, well, I mean, what I'm saying is I wasn't doing drugs and alcohol. I wasn't having a lot of promiscuous sex, things that I value. You know, like I was not eating a lot, but I was like, at that point then was really when I had gotten off of the losing the weight track with like like with the lean cuisines. And I was like going to the deli at Whole Foods every day. And I was spending like 20 or 30 bucks there. And I was working out literally every day. I was reading a lot at that time. And I started a blog, you know. So, or did the blog happen after my mom passed away? I think the vlog happened after my mom passed away. So yeah, it did, because the first one's called Suicide Birds and Seahorses. So, you know, like, I was engaging in, like, healthy numbness, but I wasn't really dealing with what was going on. And I went on dates with a couple other guys during that period, but they just, like, I literally would go on a date, and within 5 minutes of being there, I'd be like, yeah, this is a total waste of my time. Like, I don't need to be here, you know what I mean? And I'm kind of that person that knows. I'm trying to adjust this so you guys can see me. Oh, wow, okay. I guess I was, like, sunk down. I'm the kind of person that knows within, like, 5 minutes of a date, like, this is either a waste of my time or, like, we're gonna be together for a long time. Does that make sense? Like, I just can kind of feel it from right away. And so my friend and I were out. It was another friend of mine. We're out. It was in April sometime, because my mom passed away. Alex and I have kind of figured out, we think we know exactly. Well, because, oh, I'll tell you how we know. So we have a mutual friend, and it was his birthday. And we were out at a club, and we went, like, this guy's not that good a friend of mine, and he's not that good a friend of Alex's, but he's like a mutual friend, kind of. And at the time, he worked at this bar that we would all go to and hang out and dance and see the drag shows and stuff. Well, my friend that I was with, she was really, this is a different friend, she was really good friends with him, and so she wanted to go for his birthday, because they were doing, like, some big, like, drag show. He was not a drag queen, but they were doing some, like, big drag show, their thing. I think Alex and I figured out when the date was, because, like, on Facebook, we saw his birthday come up or something later, so it was his birthday, and I was standing talking to him and my friend, and Alex came up running up the stairs. He was, like, watching the drag show, and he came running up the stairs, and, like, gave this guy, like, he was like, how many years? And he was like, said whatever he was, and he was like, giving him all these birthday spanks. And I remember looking at him, and I was like, who is this guy? Like, he's like, and Alex still kind of has this today, like, when he walks in the room, he kind of just owns the room, like, you know, and it's not anything that he does or says, it's just, he's so comfortable in his own skin. You know, it's interesting, I was reading some comments, and people were like, oh, Alex is an asshole, or Alex talks to Peter so bad, and whatever. Like, I'll be honest with you, like, if I really thought that the way that Alex talks to me in videos, like, I don't know that anybody has really any idea, because I'm very protective of my two exes, but I've been in situations where I was verbally abused in relationships, okay? I'm not somebody that's gonna tolerate that again. Alex and I, at times, have a very kind of funny shtick that goes back and forth, and that sarcasm that he has is part of the humor that I enjoy, because I like that kind of humor. Maybe a little bit because that's how my dad is, and I was raised with that, you know? But I think that people misunderstand that as, like, that's not us arguing, okay? Our arguing is a little bit more serious than that. I mean, our arguing, which we don't argue often anymore because of marriage counseling, but when we do, I mean, we don't ever let it get to a point of where it can be, like, disastrous to the relationship, but it's not funny back and forth banter. Like, that you see is funny back and forth banter. And as real as I want to keep my videos, I'm not probably going to put out a 20-minute video where Alex and I are arguing, because I don't think really anybody wants to see that, honestly. I think you guys want to see a real relationship, but I don't think you want to see us really having it out. And, like, I think a lot of couples do. So, you know, they're very early on, like, that sarcastic, kind of humorous confidence that Alex has. Like, I like that. It's cute to me. It's funny, you know? And, so, we stood there. I didn't talk to him. I didn't say anything. I just thought, I thought he was honestly, like, so sexy. And somebody had hooked me up with this guy that was Latino. They're like, this guy's really interested in you, blah, blah, blah. And I got on a date with him. And I was like, thought he was cute, but, like, I don't know. I just wasn't real, it you know, there was not much there. And so anyway, but then, like, I think after that, I was kind of like, and then there was another guy that I went on a date with that was, like, from another city, and he was, like, farm-bred country boy. And I was kind of like, I don't know, I didn't even know really what I was looking for, but nothing was exciting me. Nothing was, like, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't, like, seeing somebody and being like, yeah, I want to go on a date with him, or yeah, he's hot. And, like, this, and let me just tell you, like, for me, to see a hot guy is one thing and be like, hey, he's a hot guy, but that would do nothing for me as far as making me want to, like, ask him out or do something. Like, I would have to see a lot more than that. Like, for me, and I know this sounds like bullshit, but it honest to God is not. For me, it's like the full picture, you know? It's like the humor, the looks are important to catch my eye, but I like people that have kind of a unique look to them, something different, you know? And when I saw Alex, he had, you know, Alex still gets this when he's, like, hot or sweaty. He gets these, like, dark circles under his eyes. And I remember that night, it was, like, really hot in the bar, and he had these, like, really dark circles under his eyes, and I was like, who is this guy? And he had on, like, you know, these jeans, and these, like, driving moccasins, and, like, this, like, white V-neck t-shirt, and I just was, I don't know, and he just was so funny, and, like, just confident, and didn't even look at me. Like, I didn't even know who he was, right? I mean, he had no clue when I messaged him who I was, so. But I like all of that together. Like, it's not just good enough for me. Like, there's a lot of really great looking people in the world, but I always kind of like something when there's, like, something a little bit off about something, you know, like, if that makes sense. Like, if there's always, like, there's just something a little off, like the scar that Alex has on his face, and, you know, like, there are things like that I, like, enjoy about people. For me, perfection is boring. It just stopped, so I had to start it up again. For me, perfection is kind of boring, honestly. Like, so people that, like, have perfect abs and perfect chests and wear the perfect clothes and all that kind of stuff, yes, I mean, like, I look at that and I'm like, you know, it's pretty, it's nice, but, like, it's boring to me. I like a messiness a little bit, you know what I mean? And this is just me speaking, this is just my, you know, what I enjoy. And I think this is gonna sound, I don't know. I don't really care how it comes across. It's my prerogative. I like men. I like men that are a little rugged, you know, that come from the gym, that are a little messy, things like that. Alex is that. I mean, Alex is a guy. He just is. And I like that about him. You know what I mean? Like, even though he likes nice clothes and all this kind of stuff, and he likes nice things, and he takes good care of them, and he likes hair care products and all that kind of stuff, like, at the house, and this is what I saw early on date. I didn't see any of that, you know, like, when we were dating. I mean, he was that at that time, but, like, what I saw was us laid up on the couch on a Sunday, eating a pizza, you know, sitting, like, on top of each other, like, but watching a movie. I'm not saying that in that way, you know what I mean? And, you know, and he's in, like, basketball shorts and a tank top. And, like, that was hot to me, you know? Like, here's this just, like, regular guy that's used to just, like, laying on the couch at, you know, his apartment or whatever. And, like, I liked that. You know, he could go 3 or 4 days without shaving and didn't even think about it. You know what I mean? And, I remember, like, at that point, I was, like, showering, like, because I love to take showers and stuff, like, once or twice a day. And I remember Alex and I got together, and he, like, one day was like, I'm just gonna take a shower tomorrow. And I was like, did you take a shower today? And he was like, no. And I was kind of like, I don't know, like, there was just something about it that, like, I had never, like, really been with a guy before that was, like, a guy, you know, like, and it's funny because as we've gotten older, like, the things that you think, like, I'm not real big into gender roles and relationships. I just think that that's bullshit. But, like, if you were gonna go along that line, like, the things that you would think that he would know a lot about, like cars, bills, he doesn't know shit about any of that kind of stuff, none whatsoever. And my ex, who was less, you know, masculine, not super masculine, none of the guys I've ever dated have ever been, like, super effeminate, or I've always been into guys that are a little bit thicker. Like, that's always been, you know, they're either, like, somebody that works out a lot, or they're a little bit thicker. And if you look at Alex, like, he's built like a dancer. His thighs are, like, really, like, muscular and stuff. And so anyway, I don't know, but what was I gonna say about that? Oh, my ex, who I would say, and I'm not saying that I think Alex is super masculine. I think that like most of the three guys I've had long-term relationships with, I would say are all in the same range of masculinity, if that makes sense. But my ex knew a lot about cars, like a lot about cars, and worked for his grandfather's car dealership for a long time. And my ex before that knew a lot about cars and knew a lot about like just but when it comes to like the money stuff and taking care of bills, now that's like my department. I do all that. So anyway, we were, I saw him out, and then like my friend that I had talked about, Liz, she was like, you need to get a MySpace. Like, you don't have a MySpace. And I was like, no. Like, I mean, I came out of this relationship, you guys, into a world of things like social media. I mean, we didn't even have social media apps at that time. We had websites, like Match.com and stuff like that. Manhunt was the big gay one at the time. The hookup site. It was like, the website of like for Grindr. And I didn't get on those. I think I was very afraid. I'm very innocent when it comes to stuff like that. Like, and I'm kind of old-fashioned. I just, like, if it's not going to happen naturally for me, I'd rather it just not happen at all. And I think I also have a huge fear factor in, like, I don't know, like, this whole world, like, Alex did do a lot of that. Alex didn't meet guys that way and just show up and have one-night stands and stuff, and I don't judge him for it. I think people think I'm like a prude a lot and I pass judgment. I don't pass judgment on people's lives for a whole lot. I'm like, live your life, But if you're going to live your life, be honest about it and stand behind who you are. That's how I feel about things, But like, I'd be like, you just would like talk to somebody online and then you would just like show up to their house and he'd be like, yep. And I'm like, weren't you scared? Like, that's like, to me, honestly, for my life, like, I don't know, like, I want to be romanced. I want to go on a date. Like, and if that's not what somebody wants, then, okay, like, I don't think we're probably going to work out. And so, flashing forward, when Alex and I went on our first date, I didn't really think it was going to work out because I thought that, like, that's who he was. And that is a lot of who he was at that time, So what happened was, that April, my mom was in really bad shape, and my friend and I were getting ready to go to Las Vegas for a week, and my dad had basically said to me, listen, when you get back, you're going to have some real tough choices to make, I think. And he didn't say it like that to me so much then. I can't remember how he said it to me. He was like, I think he said something like, things are just going to get worse from here. It was something very like that. Like, things are going to get worse from here, or there's no place to go but down, or something like that. Because when we were in Las Vegas, my dad called me and said, you're going to have to make some tough decisions when you get back. And I remember that phone call like it was yesterday. I was standing in the hotel room at Caesar's Palace, and I was like, okay, what do you mean? He's like, I think you know what I mean, and you're going to have to make some tough decisions, so be prepared when you come back. And so anyway, that April, I got on MySpace. My friend Liz had said, oh, you need to have a MySpace. You need to have a MySpace. So I started this MySpace in like January. And oh my God, I thought my MySpace was such perfection. My MySpace was all black and white pictures. It was like black and white pictures of Maya Angelou and very, Naomi Campbell. And, I had this song that was on there by Malcolm McClellan. Was that Malcolm McClellan? It was called Paris. And it was Catherine Deneuve and Malcolm McLaren. Oh, this song was so fantastic. Do you remember you would like put it on your MySpace and it like, I thought my MySpace was so sexy. And you would arrange your best friends and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I loved it. So anyway, I was just randomly looking. I mean, I literally had no like intention. One of the things that really busted my bubble at the beginning was Alex and I had this conversation about soulmates, and he was like, I totally do not believe in soulmates. I don't believe in fate. He doesn't believe in any of that to this day. And like looking back now, even just kind of thinking about it right now, I'm like, I don't know though, like why was I just happening to be looking on that? I mean, I was not looking for him. And I can still see the picture in my head. He had like this blue shirt on and he was like dancing. He had like a drink in his hand. That was like his MySpace picture. And so I remember that, and this is kind of a joke because I think a lot of people know his last name is Paredes, but when I read it, I thought it said Paradise. So I was telling people all over the place I thought this guy, Alex Parodies, was so cute. Nobody had no idea who I was talking about. But anyway, so I just randomly, and going through somebody's like MySpace, I think honestly for like 4 days, I was like, I kept on going back to his thing and like wanted to send a message. And finally I just sent it, and I was like, I said, I saw you out, and I explained like the situation of the spanking the front, and I said, I think you're very handsome. I'm so old school, and I think you have kind eyes. I would like to take you out on a date sometime. Now you have to understand, okay, I was not this super confident person. Like, this was really hard for me, you know, and I'm not a social media person. I came out of this world, and before I got in my past relationship, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have MySpace, we didn't have, you know, Match.com or Manhunt, or I don't know any of these things, you know, like, and here I am coming into this. I felt scared. I was scared. Like, I was like, I don't know how to do this stuff, you know, and now I think it's funny looking, you know, back that I have 4 YouTube channels where I shout, but I was a very private person, you know, like, I just, like, I wasn't talking with people that I worked with about my dating and stuff. Like, I just didn't. I mean, they all knew my boyfriend and stuff, but, you know, like, other than that, I don't know. I'm small town, you know? And so, he responded to me. This was in April of 2008, and he said, thank you very much for your message. I'm still interested in my ex-boyfriend. We just broke up. And he said, I'm not a kind person, in referencing his kind eyes. And he said, but thank you. I appreciate it, or something like that. And that was it. I was like, okay, that's it. And then I kind of, for a while, really wanted to know who his ex was. And my friend, who, like, she knew all the people that worked at this bar. And so, like, I asked her, and then she, like, pointed him out to me. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, to this day, I still don't, like, it's weird that they were ever, like, boyfriends. And one thing that's funny is, like, my ex and I have no issues today. Alex's ex and him have no issues today. But, like, at the beginning, it was not so much like that. Like, Alex and his ex, like, really did not like each other. I mean, they hated each other. And, it was really ugly. Like, his ex's cell phone was on Alex's bill, and Alex just cut it off. And so then he was pissed because he didn't have a phone. I mean, all this stuff. And of course, this all played out in this bar scene, you know, of like the gay scene of Indianapolis. And I'm like 36 at the time. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, like, why are you in the middle of all this? And it just was ugly. It just was not pretty. Since then, like, I ran into his ex-boyfriend, like, I mean, we ran into him a lot. Like, I know him. But the last time I saw him was in Walmart, like, 2 years ago. He was just grocery shopping after work one night. And we stood there and talked for, like, 45 minutes. And it was so funny. I thought to myself, he reminds me a lot of my ex. And I thought, you know, like, if I had never known that this was Alex's ex, like, I think he and I would be very good friends. He's, like, not a bad guy. He's a really nice guy. And, so anyway, that's one way, like, you know, like, when I talk about, like, this is a good example, that I don't, like, always share everything. Okay, so, like, for me to say to you, like, Alex is a different person than he was when I met him, but then to back up that story would have to get into some really personal shit that's really not mine to tell, if that makes sense. But I'm gonna share a little bit of this just to explain. When I met him, he and his ex were feuding. I mean, it was this horrific feud that, like, all of his ex's friends were on his side and all of Alex's friends were on his side. And we would go out to a bar or some kind of event here in Indianapolis, like Gay Pride, and I was stuck right in the middle of it. And Alex was like, you know, it just was ugly. And it was, you know, there was a time that, like, Alex, like, was dancing and his ex walks underneath him because he's on a stage, and Alex poured this drink on him, and just, you know, and then his ex would do things to him, and it was so messy, right? That I really, at the beginning, was like, what am I doing? Like, this is, like, why am I, like, this is not who you are, Peter. Why are you in this? Okay, and Alex and I would have conversations, you know, and a lot of who I am today about telling people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear, has not changed a lot. I mean, I've been that person for a while. And, you know, Alex would say stuff, I fucking hate him and blah, 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 whatever. And I'd be like, well, he obviously, you're letting him rent space in your head for free. I would say that. I'd say because if you're not together with anymore and I'm dating you and I'm sitting right here and you have such strong emotions attached to him, what's going on there? Like, what's going on there? You know, oh, I hate him, blah, blah, blah. And I'd say, you know what? You need to work this out with him. Like, you need to make it right. You need to apologize for your behaviors. You need to make it right. Whenever he'd be like, well, I don't know, you might be right. It started with, no, fuck that, I'll never do it, to, I might be right, and whatever. And then a couple years ago, like, Alex told me, he was like, yeah, we talked. And I was like, you talked? And he was like, yeah, through text, and it was really nice. And I don't want to know about what happened, the conversation was. You know, it's between them. And I just was glad they worked it out. And, you know, my husband isn't the person that he was today. You know, he partied really hard when I first met him. He didn't drink like that at all anymore, you know? And, I mean, my God, he thinks he's bougie having his glass of Malbec, you know? And, he's just a different person. He's very professionally centered and focused. He wasn't anywhere near, you know, done with school when I met him. And, you know, he would go a semester, take a semester off because he was working, so I already couldn't afford it. But he's, like, really, like, become a different person since I met him. And, like, my dad said something to me about it. He's like, you know, Alex has just really blown me away. Like, he's just, so professional. And he's like, you know, I just, and my dad knows some people that Alex has worked with, and it has been like, you know, he's really respected. Like, Alex is really respected. And he's like, you know, I'm just really impressed that who he's become, because that's not who I knew when you first started dating him. And, so anyway, yeah, I mean, he's a different person, and I am too, you know? I think I'm a lot different than I was when we first started dating. And I honestly, and I mean this 100% when I say this, and it's in such a kind of indirect way, but if it wasn't for my husband being my husband, or being my boyfriend, or in my life, into the capacity that he is, this YouTube channel wouldn't exist. I would never have written a book. I wouldn't be the person that I am today. Alex is somebody that sees life as very fragile, to be lived to the fullest, to take risks that aren't dangerous. And, you know, he has no, you know, problem saying how he feels, which I respect. And he challenges me a lot. You know, he'll say, like, if you're gonna write a book, write a fucking book, but stop talking about it and sit down and write a book. You know what I mean? And I love that about him. One of the first things that when we got together, you know, we were talking about, like, drugs, and he didn't really understand a lot about recovery when we first got together. And he said, we were sitting, this was like the first day, and he said, okay, so anyway, I'll tell you about the first day, what happened. So, okay, that was in April. My mom passed away in May. And then that whole summer, I was going and I was visiting my friend Paul in Denver a lot. I was going back and forth, and I was really thinking about moving there, and he was super supportive of me moving there. And I thought, this is a fresh start. Paul always makes me feel good about myself, you know, when I'm there. Like, he always, like, supports me and endorses me, and, you know, and I was like, it's time to make a change. And I had a little bit of money, you know, so I was like, okay. I didn't have a lot of money, but I had a little bit of money from when my mom passed away, and I was like, if I'm gonna make a change, maybe this is the time to make a change. And I had the condo, so I knew that I could sell the condo. And that was like the second week of August. Well, Alex texted me and said, or he didn't text me, he messaged me on MySpace and said, so when are we going on this date? And I messaged him back and I said, you must be over your boyfriend now. See, our relationship's always been built on this sarcasm, this sarcastic humor, you know? And he goes, yeah, I'm real over him. He was too. And he said, so when are we going on this date? And I said, just picked a date. And he said, okay. And then, like, the date came and went, and I canceled it, like, the night before. And he goes, can we reschedule? And I was like, yeah. I rescheduled it. I canceled it and rescheduled it twice. The third time I was supposed to go, and I was picking him up at his friend's downtown. He was actually in school when I started dating him, and in college. And he was 24. and 24 and a half. And I went down to our friend Luce's house to pick him up. She was living downtown at the time in this amazing condo. And I called my friend Paul and I said, I don't want to go on this date. And he goes, why not? And I said, because I just don't want to. And Paul very much knew I wasn't like a one-night stander, like that wasn't going to happen. Like I wasn't going to go on a date and screw this guy, right? Which is really, I will tell you in retrospect, Alex and I did screw around our first date. So I have done that with each of my boyfriends on each of my first dates, and it's never kept me from having a monogamous long-term relationship. So, or at least as monogamous as I'm aware of. But you know what I mean? Like, it's never stopped me from having a long-term relationship with somebody because we got frisky the first night. So, but anyway, and I'm just being transparent with that. So, like, I'm like, this is going late talking about this story. So, Paul said, listen, just go on the fucking date. I'm tired of hearing about this because I talked a lot to him about it. He said, either you go and you make a new friend, or you go and you like this guy and you want to start dating him, but either way, you've met somebody new. Just go. And so I did. And I'll never forget, I was waiting outside in my car and Alex walked in front and he had this like blue polo shirt on. It was like tighter fitting. And he like in jeans and he like those moccasin shoes, driving moccasins he used to always wear. Then he walked in front of me and I'll never forget, he did this cute little wave and I was like, I literally thought inside my head, dude, you are so fucked. Like, you are so fucked. Like, I had not felt this way towards somebody like butterflies, like, in so long, right? And we went to dinner. I said, where do you want to go? He goes, I don't care. I said, let's just go somewhere close to my, you know, condo, because I was kind of off and on staying at my mom's then and going back and forth between there and the apartment. And he said, but I was weird about bringing people back to my apartment because that was my ex and I's apartment. And I just didn't, I don't know, it was weird to me. So I said, well, let's go. And then if we want to go to my mom's house afterwards and have coffee, or I didn't say my mom's house. I said, if you want to go to my condo afterwards, we can have like coffee or whatever. And he goes, I don't drink coffee. I go, oh, okay. So we went to Bravo, which is like, I don't know why we picked that. Neither one of us really ate our meals. And then, like, it must have been early, because I remember it was during the day that I picked him up. And then we drove through Starbucks, and I got a coffee. And he remembers the coffee part more than me. I don't know why. And we went back to my house, and we talked for, like, hours. Like, hours we talked. And I don't even remember how we ended up getting frisky. I just remember that we did. And I can still see it today, you know. And, you know how I'll tell you how you can tell that love is constant, is when you make out. Like, if somebody asked me in my last Q&A, do you and your husband still make out? Yes, I love making out with my husband. I love kissing my husband. He's a fantastic kisser, and so am I. And he has great lips, and so do I. So, those are some things I'll be a little arrogant about. But anyway, is when you kiss your husband or wife after many years, and it still feels like that first time. Like it does, you know, like I still get that way. I know it's so stupid. I love my husband. I love him more than anything in the world, you know. And I think some of the things that have kept us together is we do argue and go to sleep angry sometimes. I've had to learn that. You know, that my husband's not somebody that wants to solve the world's problems before he goes to bed. Sometimes he just wants to go to bed and fix it tomorrow morning or forget about it, and that's okay. Things don't always have to be on my terms, you know? And he has stayed up many nights, way past the time that he needs to go to bed for work, to try to make me feel better about something because we've had an argument. This is in the past. We don't do that anymore. We always kiss before we go to bed. We always do. Well, I don't care if we're fighting or not. We always kiss before we go to bed, and we always kiss when we part ways in the morning, because you never know when you're going to see somebody again. And we always say I love you. We say I love you all the time, constantly. We don't forget it. And then I think the communication thing. I think, you know, intimacy and communication are the two, I mean, I literally think they're like the heart and the brain of a relationship. And I think that if you don't have them, you're fucked. And I think when we both realized that we weren't communicating the ways that we wanted to communicate with each other anymore, that it was time to get some help with that. You know, which is why we got into marriage counseling. Okay, I cannot believe that I've gone almost like I've gone over an hour now vlogging. But I gotta stop this and finish this because I'm almost at 24 minutes. So hold on. And I think that's the importance of like marriage counseling or reading books, you know, that will help you, like, I don't know, or just sit down and try to talk to each other about like what you want to do, you know. I don't know, I just see so many people basically just hand over their relationships. It makes me very sad. My relationship means too much to me to do that, you know, which is why I'm so grateful that I'm sitting here saying 7 years married, 10 years together, you know. What I was going to say on that date was that one of the things that he said that really caught me, and I have to tell you, this is what's so funny, is like, you know, I had gone on dates in the last, let's say, 9 months before that. I'd probably gone on maybe, like, I wasn't a big dater that year, but I had dated, like, somebody, like, for 2 weeks and another person for, like, 3 weeks, and it just wasn't, like, feeling it at all. And, I mean, I just think I was lonely and bored. But anyway, I literally took a shower, threw some shit in my hair, and threw on like a button-down Western shirt with jeans and flip-flops. And that is like what I wore this day. Like I was like, I could care less how I looked. I felt so comfortable. It is the only day that I've ever gone into in my entire life where I really did not care what the result was when it came out of the day. Like I had no expectations for it whatsoever, and I think that's why it was fantastic. It was such a great date. It was the greatest date I've ever had in my entire life, and it wasn't just because of Alex and I, it was because I had no expectations going into it, you know? But I remember we were sitting there, and Alex, and did not bat an eye when he said this to me. He said, so we played this little game, and he said, you know, what's something about you, like I asked him, and then he looks back at me and he goes, okay, so what's something about you that I'm gonna wanna know about you if we were to start dating? And I said, well, I'm a recovering addict and alcoholic. And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, like, and you have to understand, like, a lot of times with Alex, like, I don't know that this comes across, like, I see it a lot on social media. Like, he just tweeted out something yesterday, or he put it on his Instagram, and he was like, I think people think he's dyslexic or something, which he's not. Maybe he is, I don't know. I mean, there's not anything wrong with it. My best friend is. But, he, I think, thinks in Spanish sometimes, if that makes sense. So he doesn't really understand some things. And you have to understand that when I first met him, like, he had moved here when he was 12, was like proficient in English by the time he was 16 or 18. So I was like 6 years out of that. Like, I mean, his English was really, really good, but some things he didn't understand. So, like, the concept of recovery, like, he didn't really understand that. And there weren't really words that I could use because I don't speak Spanish to translate it to him. And he goes, I don't understand what you mean. And he goes, and I said, well, I used to drink a lot and, you know, use drugs a lot, and it, like, really interfered with my life. So I got clean and sober when I was 22 and a half. And he looked at me and he goes, I don't understand. He goes, so you were an alcoholic? And I go, I am an alcoholic, I just don't drink today. And he said, okay, and what about the drug part? And I said, and this is what I mean, like, no mincing of words, okay? And I said, yeah, I was a pretty hardcore, and I mean, I honestly, when I said this, and his response, I thought, it's done right here. I said, I used to do drugs pretty heavily. I dealt drugs. I've been to jail for drugs. You know, and he looked at me and he goes, I think drugs are disgusting. And he goes, and I think that anybody that does drugs are disgusting. I was like, what? And he's like, I have no tolerance for it. He was like, I went through a period of my life where I did cocaine and I tried ecstasy when I was in college, and I think it's gross. And he's like, and I can't stand the smell of marijuana either. Today, he's learned to be compassionate, okay, towards the still suffering addict and alcoholic. He really has. But I think that was his understanding about things, was that it was things in life were good or bad. You know, and when I met Alex, he was very much that way, that everything was, you know, that things were black and white, good and bad. There was no in between, you know? And like, even with our arguing when we first got together, it was, and this is, I think, very much a sibling thing too, like with him and his brother Carlos, that like somebody was right and somebody was wrong. There was no mincing of that. Does that make sense? Like, there was no, like, I've used that word now like 5 times. There was no like, well, it was kind of my part. And like, this has been one of the biggest issues with us in marriage counseling. There has been no like, or there was no like, okay, yeah, like, it's kind of my part, and let me own my part and you own your part. It was like if I said in our relationship, like, hey, I really like owe you an apology, like what I did was wrong, and he'd look at me and say, you're absolutely right, you were wrong, and thank you for the apology, I'm glad that you see that it was your fault. And I'd be sitting there being like, this is such bullshit, because as a person in recovery, I have to take responsibility, and he's sitting over there having as much of a part of it as that I do, and I want to hear a fucking amends too, you know, but I didn't get it. And but you know what, like, that's something that's changed a lot in us today, and we would communicate. If he was sitting here, he'd be laughing so hard, because he knows now how much that like really bothered me back in the day. But you know, it's all of that together. And I think my husband was very scared of drugs. I didn't know when we first started dating to the capacity that alcohol had ruled his childhood. I also did not know to what capacity that drugs had played a part in his friends' lives and the takedown of several of his friends' lives, to where Alex could only see, and I'm not saying that there was anything good about drugs, but I mean, he only saw it as like, he couldn't disassociate the person from the drug. And I think, like, you know, that's where you start learning a lot about people. You know, I've learned a lot about him, and you know, I have a lot of feelings about things to do in the world, that having dated him and been together with him, that I don't know that I would have felt the same way about had I never dated him. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know that I would have ever felt this way. Like, I don't know that I would have ever had any kind of feeling about it had I not dated him. And I'm trying to think of an example, but I don't know. And like, we've grown a lot together. I think that the fact that Alex came into my life the year after my mom, or the 6 months after my mom passed away, I think had to happen. I think that had I dated, one of the things that makes me the saddest is that my mom never got to meet Alex, and Alex never got to meet my mom. Also, that Alex's mom never got to meet my mom, because my mom and Alex's mom would have been great friends. They would have gotten along really, really well. They're very similar in how they think. They love to dance. You know, there was a story about Alex's mom being at this party, and they had this gorgeous pool, and she just acted like she fell in the pool because she wanted to go swimming, and she swam in the pool in her clothes. Like, my mother was very much like that, and it wasn't because she was drinking, because Alex's mother wasn't drinking that day at all. She just was having fun, and she wanted to be in the pool. You know, it's stuff like that. And but I also think that who I am today, I wouldn't be if my mom hadn't passed away when she did, which I'm sad about. But at the same time, like, the learning, I'm not willing to negate the learning experiences I've had as a result of that. As well as, I don't think that I would have learned the things about my relationship with Alex that I needed to learn to grow as a person, and which would also affect him to learn certain things to grow as a person in our relationship, had I not met him on the heels of my mother passing away. So to some degree, I think my mother is a very vital part, absently, on the making of our relationship. You know, I think she's a huge reason why we're sitting here at 10 years. I don't know, maybe I never even really realized it before. So yeah, 10 years in August, you guys, I can't believe it. I never would have believed it in a million years. If you had told me, like, when we first started dating, I would have said, no. I mean, I see us maybe dating for 2 or 3 months, but I knew right away how much I cared about him, but I didn't think that he would ever care about me in the same way. And he was just really into dating a lot and being with his friends. And oh my God, there's like deer, but they're like on the lawn of like a dental office. I just don't think that, like, if you ask Alex, he would say, you know, like, I don't know how he did it, but Peter's the person that made me fall in love with settling down. He never thought he wanted to be settled down. He never thought he did, you know? And I think the thing is that Alex offers me enough of the excitement with the traveling, the music festivals, all that kind of life. But then he also gives me the half of the settling down that I've always wanted. And I think equally, I do the same for him. And I think that's where we meet very well in the middle. And I also think that our long-term and our short-term goals are identical. And I think that's really, really important. You know, Alex always says this in videos, and since he's been saying it recently, it's not like we talked about it before I did Q&As, because it wasn't like we were just doing a Q&A sitting around the living room before I was on YouTube. You know, he would say, this video is going to be so long tonight, he would say, you know, Peter and I are so much alike, and I just would be like, are we really? Are we really? But since he said that, like, I look at it, and I'm like, we really are a lot alike, you know? But maybe just at different stages in our life. And that's okay. That just means you respect that person where they're at that stage in their life. You know what I mean? So, I love my husband. He's the love of my life. He's the absolute love of my life. All right, you guys, I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm sorry for the long vlog tonight, you guys, but I wanted to tell the whole story. Bye.